Good morning, and it is a good morning as well. It's 8 o'clock on Sunday the 9th of June, and would you believe it, there's still quite a lot of traffic. It's an amazing place, this. And I'm making our way out of Maldon. I'm now in Heybridge, which is more or less attached, and I'm heading for Colchester. Now, whether I actually make it to Colchester is another thing, but I've got a choice here of which way to go. There's two roads that run more or less almost parallel, a kind of a north and a south. If I choose to go to the northern option, I'll come eventually to a place called Tiptree. The advantage of that is the 75 bus runs every 2 hours, 10 minutes past the hour, from Colchester back again to Maldon. And I'm going to take that option because it's quite a long walk. I had quite a long walk yesterday. I've got to be perfectly honest with you. I didn't really feel like it this morning, but the thing that's driven me on is that tomorrow, for the next 3 days, we've got rain. And even though the BBC always seem to paint a much blacker picture than you'd expect, I think they hedge the bets a little bit and tell you the worst possible scenario. Certainly that was the case yesterday, and it turned out to be quite a nice day. I just feel as if I'm lacking in energy a little bit this morning. I'm not talking about nothing wrong with my legs feel fine. I feel alright, but I just, when I say don't feel like it, I'm not sure whether I'm going to make a full 16-mile walk to Colchester when I've got an option of more or less splitting it in half or thereabouts, and then I need to move the van to wherever, so it's a full day. I think the reason I'm a bit tired, to be honest, yeah, I did that walk yesterday, but I was like editing again until like 11 o'clock last night. You know, it's the editing is really taking a lot of doing. I mean, I enjoy it, I love doing it, but sometimes you don't always feel like it. You've got to be in the mood, and I don't want to get behind or anything like that with these films. And I think, well, what else would I do anyway? So I got the edit done. I think I posted it last night about maybe 11 o'clock, went to bed, woke up this morning like I always do, around about sort of 5:30ish, and then made a decision, well, yes, I'm going to do it. I've got no excuse, and I really want to get on anyway. Now, I've got a major apology to make to my friend Ray Young. Yesterday I called him Ray White. It's because I've got an old friend called Ray White, and the name just rolls off the tongue. I'm sorry, Ray. Here's Ray. Look, this is him and I when we met on Anglesey, and we had a lovely walk, and I met his lovely wife Shirley. I went and stayed with them a couple of times in Ellesmere Port and met the family when they were staying in a beautiful, rented a fantastic windmill, and I stayed there, and it was lovely. And we also walked on the Lynn Peninsula, which I think was Aberdarren to Abersock, I think it was, or something like that. But it was a beautiful walk, and we had a really good time. Really lovely bloke is Ray. So if I upset you, Ray, I'm sorry. I'd like to thank Simon Brown to write in to me regarding the situation of buses around Cromer and Hunstanton, where I was saying I hadn't had time to look at the detailed timetable and the buses up in North Norfolk. I mean, it's still some days away before I'm going to get there, probably a couple of weeks actually. But thanks for that information, Simon. To know that there's a bus every hour running from Cromer to Hunstanton is great for me, because it's allowed me to plan things a little bit better now. I spoke with Ralph yesterday to tell him definitely come on the 17th, because now that Ray's coming up here and he's going to give me a hand and we're going to do some walking, that's taken all my worries away about the situation in North Norfolk. I do know one or two other people actually as well. Peter, who lives in Bury St Edmunds, who said he wants to come and meet me and give me a hand if I need it. There's also a lady who runs a vlog, and I'm sorry to say her name has completely disappeared, but I'm hoping to meet her as well. And you know, I'm just trying to get on with this now. You can imagine having kind of made all the plans to get back to Grimsby probably by the end of June, beginning of July. I'm excited about that. I want to get on with it because I want to get up to Scotland, because I'm not going to be staying in Grimsby long, a day or two. I've got a few things to sort out, but I'm going to be straight off up to Scotland because I want to make it to John O'Groats before the end, before I have to call it a day for a winter break. And so it might sound as if I'm kind of rushing it and pushing it, but no, I'm not. I don't think so. I think it's quite a sensible view, and while I'm feeling in this frame of mind and positive and everything else and happy inside, one thing and another, I'm going to keep on going. And my body will tell me when it's time to have a break. What I'm going to do if I get to Colchester or Tiptree, it doesn't really make any difference. I'm going to look for a campsite where I can go on a campsite for a couple of nights and sit in the rain on a campsite. At least you've got mains electricity and I can do things. And I'm going to do some washing, all the rest of it. All the usual things that you do on a campsite. So, Ralph definitely said he's coming on the 17th and he's bringing his mate Nibs, and we're going to have a good time. And if he was here, I'm absolutely certain he would say, "Here we go." just gone 9 o'clock now, and I'm making good progress. I've done 4 miles. I just saw a sign not long ago saying Colchester 12. Well, I've got lots of time to do it. It's just whether I've got the energy, if I'm to be honest. But I'm feeling quite optimistic. This is a very nice, easy walk. Absolutely gorgeous morning. Not a breath of wind. You might be wondering why I'm keeping my yellow jacket on, even though it's a bit hot. It's just so that all of these mental motorists get a better chance of seeing me, because I'm wearing a black t-shirt and black trousers. So yeah, okay, it's bright and sunny and everything, but some of these drivers are just absolutely ridiculous. It's frightening, to be honest with you, and this is one of the things I hate about road walking. It just adds a big risk to it. You've got to keep all of the time, you're just watching for people to make mistakes. And a lot of them don't give you an inch, really. I mean, as it happens, I'm walking on a path just slightly off the road, but on these country roads you don't get a path very often. But it really is worrying, and I don't like it at all, but I've got to do it. And okay, the good thing about this road is it's long and it's straight, which also means it's quite boring as well, but it's getting the job done without going sort of tacking, twisting and bending. And I've looked on the map and it's more or less like this. You've got to remember, this was a Chelmsford to Colchester, which is now the A12. Roman roads, they're all Roman roads. You know, Romans were very, very busy in this particular area, you know, not far from London, and creating all these long straight roads. And it makes you wonder what's gone on over the years along here. I feel as if I'm waffling, really, because there's just absolutely nothing to show you at all. Apart from when you get into the villages, you might get the odd shop or the odd pub or something to show you, but I just don't know how I'm going to make this interesting. I'm bored actually walking this and filming it, so it must be very boring for you watching it at home. And the quicker I get out of this situation, the better. But I've just got to keep pressing on, as I've said before. I've got 3 days of rain in front of me, which I don't want, but I've just got to take it. And don't worry, I'm not moaning, I'm not in a bad mood or anything. This has just got to be done. I'm enjoying it, and as I've said before, I'm making good progress. I'm happy with that. And I've got another week before Ralph turns up. He comes a week tomorrow, 17th of June, which is my sister's birthday. I must remember that. And it's fabulous. It's just a pity I've got to listen to these damn cars all the time and just have to be so careful. This is not leisurely, this is not coastal path walking. I would never ever want to do like a road walk around the UK, or like some people do, Land's End to John O'Groats by road. Why would you want to walk 900 miles on a road? I don't know. But anyway, I'll get on. 10 o'clock now, and I found this wonderful garden centre. Never seen anything like it. It's really, really top drawer stuff, and they've got this cafe that opens at 9 o'clock in the morning, where I could have got a breakfast, but I had a breakfast before I left. So I've made a plan for the day the way I'm feeling at this very moment in time. I'm not too far from Tiptree now. I've walked about 6 miles in the last couple of hours, so I'm doing alright. That's quite a nice average. I'm taking it steady. I've stripped down a bit now because the temperature's gone up considerably now. It's after 10. But I'm going to try and crack on from Tiptree all the way through to Colchester, then get a bus back, pick the van up, and then drive up again towards Colchester and go to Clacton-on-Sea. Now I want to do that tonight if possible, when the roads will be a lot quieter. I don't want to do it on a Monday when there's going to be all the major traffic back on the roads again, back to work Monday morning kind of stuff. But if I can find a campsite tomorrow somewhere in the Clacton area, I've got far more chance of finding something on the coast like that than in, say, Colchester or anywhere between here and Colchester. I haven't seen any campsites at all. It's not that kind of country around here. And then I can settle down, have 3 days off while the rain's on. And I mean, okay, I know the weather can change fairly quickly in this country. And I mean, yesterday as an example was supposed to be a nightmare weather day, and it wasn't. It was a good walking day, and I did well. So it means I've got to push myself a bit today because it's such a beautiful day to waste. So I might be a bit tired by the time I've finished, but it will be well worth it because I'll have 3 days of rest anyway. So it's worth that extra bit of a push. But as I say, it's going okay. Sorry if I keep repeating myself about saying it's boring and there's cars and everything, but when actually watching this is completely different to actually doing it, and there's a lot of dangers attached to this, and it's quite boring. But as I say, it's got to be done. It is a coastal path walk, and every inch has got to be covered, and I'm sticking with that. It's 1:30 now, and I've just walked probably about 5 mile stretch of freshly resurfaced road, and it didn't make the slightest bit of difference to the motorists. I just got sprayed in chip-ins for quite a long time, dodging and weaving. Now there's another new stretch which has been done previously, which has only had its first coat, so there's no road markings, and this really is dangerous, and I'll be glad when I've finished. I've only got about 3 miles to go now, so I've done pretty well. I've bit the bullet, got it done. Quite pleased with myself. By the time I get to Colchester, the only problem I've got, not that necessarily it's a problem, is the buses run every 2 hours. I think I'm not going to arrive in Colchester by 3 o'clock to catch the 3 o'clock, so I'm going to have to wait until the 5 o'clock. So there's no point in rushing to do that. I'm not going to do that. I've slowed down considerably. I'm feeling quite tired now because it's been such hard work. I'm having to jump out of the way of vehicles. I can't get a walking rhythm at all. I'm moving from one side of the other to, because there's a lot of bends and double lines and everything. Ah, dear. Roll on, Colchester. It's just after 2:30 now. I don't know quite how long it'll take me to walk into the centre, but I certainly don't feel like rushing to catch the 3 o'clock bus. Means I can do a bit of video work, maybe have a pint or something. I'm going to find a way of killing 2 hours. It's unfortunate really that that's going to happen, but that's the way it is. Well, I've got to be honest with you, I'd rather walk that shingle beach down at where that power station was. I can't remember the name now. That was a really tough walk. I mean, okay, it was easy because I was walking on a road. That was the only easy part about it. Actually doing the walk itself with the traffic and everything else. Well, I'm glad I've got up. I won't be doing anything like that again, I'm pleased to say. That's the last time that I'll be having to do anything as bad as that, I think. But it's another walk done. It's another 15 miles ticked off the list, and I look forward to getting back again now to Maldon, driving the van down to back again this way, and to Clacton on Sea. But if I feel too tired when I get back, I'll just get my head down, get up early in the morning and do it. So that's it for now.
Good morning. It's just after 7 AM on Monday the 10th of June, and here I am in Maldon. Now, you've just watched the film from Sunday, yesterday, which ended in a pretty strange way actually, and I need to explain this. I walked all the way into Colchester, past the zoo, into the town, well, not into the town centre, but not far from the town centre. Hoping to have got into the centre back to catch the 3 o'clock bus, the Sunday afternoon bus, which passed this particular bus stop at 3:21, heading back down to Maldon where I'd walked from. But it didn't turn up, which was worrying, and so I rang the national bus line to see what happened, and they put me on to the people in Essex to see if they could come up with an answer. And the girl on the phone, she was only doing a job, had no idea what the situation was, and it got to around about quarter to 4, something like that, bearing in mind that the bus runs only every 2 hours and there was only 2 left to get me back here to Maldon, which is a distance of 12 miles. Sorry, 15 miles. And I was just about to walk away from the bus stop when the bus actually turned up, more than 20 minutes late. And I asked the driver, what's the problem? And he said, well, there's been a road accident in Maldon, and so I was delayed on the run back, and he explained to me the situation. And he was pretty well familiar with what was going on, whereas I found it really confusing that the girl on the end of the telephone had no idea what was going on, and they're supposed to be like bang up to date. Anyway, that aside, that's not the issue. What that meant was I got back here around about 5 o'clock yesterday, and I was absolutely shattered. I went straight to bed after the walk that I'd had. And here's what caused it. Look at this picture here where I was walking past it. This is the road accident, and this doesn't surprise me because the way that Essex drivers seem to drive. In a built-up area, there's a car upside down in the middle of the road, and there's another one smashed to pieces. I'm not sure whether anybody was ill or not, but this closed the road for about 3 hours, I'm told, while the police sorted it out. So this morning I'm here, as I say, in Maldon. I've just learned something else as well, actually. I was up, because I was in bed really early last night, I was up really early this morning, like at 5 o'clock, wide awake. So I've been trying to catch up on my computer with all the messages that I've had over the last week where I've kind of dropped behind. So if you're getting a message from me replying to something that or a message you sent to me 5 days ago, I'm really sorry about that. I just want you to know that I'm here, I'm busy, I'm walking. There's not enough hours in the day at the moment. It was a long walk yesterday, which absolutely, I've got to say, it was the first time I was completely knackered on this walk, I think. So I'm going to take you on a ride now to a place called Clacton-on-Sea, which is not far from Colchester, about 10 or 12 miles, which is a day's walk. I was hoping to have got into Colchester to get some shots of the city centre, but there's no problem with that. I can get those when I go in tomorrow.